Hey everybody, it's Mike Salois here. Welcome to my new endeavor. This is something that I've been thinking about doing for a long time. I've only kind of recently put the works into it to make it happen. It's quite a bit of work actually, but there's a podcast that's going to be called foodforthemind.net. It is actually called that, not going to be called that. So www.foodforthemind.net is the site. And then there's a YouTube channel that's same name, and then podcast, same name. So what is it? Like a lot of you, I'm sure podcasting is just such a huge thing now. So this is my sort of venture into it, and I feel like I can be a resource in certain areas. A lot of you out there, especially on Facebook, probably know me as a musician. I've been playing drums since I was, 18 years old. So like 30 plus years of my life. That's how a lot of you know me, or as a loan officer if I've done loans for you or whatever. So within those wheelhouses, I'm quite knowledgeable, I believe, with all the experience I've had. But a lot of people don't know about me is that I actually used to be an athlete. When I was 22 years old, I had a devastating injury to my pitching arm, a left-handed pitcher, and I was done. If you get this injury in the major leagues, you are done. It's called a slap tear in your glenoid labrum. Well, that happened to me when I was young. I was 22. So I was already playing music, but that injury, as devastating as it was and as hard as it was to get over that, made me focus in on music. But baseball growing up was a huge part of my life. It's how I survived my crazy, tumultuous childhood. But that's a podcast for another day. But baseball is really important to me. It still is in a lot of ways, and the most important ways it's really important to me. But losing my arm at such a young age was really devastating. So in those places, especially in music and in sports, especially baseball, but all sports, because that's how my childhood was, playing sports with my brothers, I have a lot to offer. Those are my wheelhouse places. And obviously my job, being a loan officer, I help a lot of people. Even if I don't do loans for them, I help them. So these are places that I can really jump in and add a lot to the conversation. So I'll be having musical guests on, all kinds of different guests for different types of shows, but I'm going to do a little teaser. I have an amazing musical guest as my first guest, and I'll say it later in the video so you can hopefully sit through this. I hope I don't make it too long, and I'll tell you who that is. So we'll have those kinds of things happening. Obviously, I'm a big Boston sports fan. I love my Sox. I love my Pats. I love the Bruins, Celtics, anything related to us, obviously. Like a lot of you, it's a big part of my life. I do a lot of, I haven't really been playing out as much as I had in the past. When I was playing in Eric Grant Band, I played like 100 shows in 2016. So I got off the road last year and started doing a lot of videos. And so this room doubles as my music studio. So I do a lot of stuff here. I'm doing a lot of collaborations with singers and some different things that will be happening over the course of the year. So in those places, there's a lot of stuff I can offer. We'll be getting, local music people too to come down here and, have some interviews, talk about their journey, just a couple of musicians talking to each other. So in those places, I have a lot to offer. As far as other things that people don't really know about me is I'm a huge science nerd, like the biggest science nerd, both empirical science and science fiction. I've raised 3 kids who are all Star Wars fanatics like I am, and I love the Marvel Universe, DC, all the superhero movies, all that. Anything sci-fi, I can't get enough of it. I joke a lot about when people try to tell me, hey, watch that sci-fi show, and I'm like, yeah, I've already seen it, because it's just the way I am. So in the empirical side, I spend a lot of time reading, YouTubing. I just spend a lot of my time reading about science. It lights me up in ways like nothing else does. And so I add that to my world too. So we'll be having people on the show that can help me learn more. Maybe I can teach other people what I know, and have everybody just immerse themselves in the beautiful, undescribably beautiful world that is the natural sciences. It's just amazing. So it's something that really lights me up. And, I have debates, I'm not going to lie, with people on YouTube. We'll go over that, that kind of thing. If you don't fall in the science and the natural, if you're more into supernatural, and it's where my paths sort of cross. What what I was indoctrinated into as a child. I don't think that way anymore since, I've taken the blue pill and I'm way on the side of it. So I can definitely offer a lot there. So this is just sort of an endeavor of mine that I'm really excited about. And so I'll put it out there to you guys too. If there's something you think can offer that can make this show better, maybe a guest that you know of, someone involved in any of the things I've mentioned, reach out to me. I got the email last night for Food for the Mind. It's 3 O's. It's foodforthemind@gmail.com, but it's FOOOD for the mind @gmail.com. Send me emails there. Suggest show topics, people that you think would be cool to interview. I'm going to be doing a lot of music, especially local musicians, people that I've played with, people that I admire. But the teaser I was going to tell you about, I am telling you right now, is my first musical guest is Anthony J. Resta. If you don't know who Anthony is, you should. You actually probably do, you just don't realize it. Remember the band Collective Soul from the 90s? Yeah, Anthony worked on all that stuff. Anthony's worked with Megadeth, he's worked with Elton John, and now he's blown up, and he's in Los Angeles and Nashville, respectively, during the year. I was blessed enough to work with him when I played in my original band, back in 2003 and 2007. I was produced and engineered by Anthony Resta and his engineer, Cariati Suteja, just complete monsters, Grammy nominated, just blown up. But I'm lucky enough to have done 16 tracks with them. And so I would love to get you guys into knowing who he is and maybe hear what he's doing now, his perspective on why he's a producer and how his mind works, because he's a monster. He's an incredible drummer. I learned an incredible amount from him working with him. So he's my first musical guest. I'll let you know when, we're working through his schedule. He's all over the place, but he's agreed to do it, so I'm beyond excited to get him on here. And, that's kind of what the show's about, but, it's also just delving into, what's going on in America? What the hell is happening in our country with who we have in office? If you're a Trump supporter or you're not, you have to admit that's a pretty polarizing subject. So we're going to delve into that kind of stuff. We'll have people on that can offer stuff, all of our own perspectives. It's what happens politically in the country. It's even if you vote, you have to admit it feels like we don't have a lot of control over it. So we're all just kind of reacting to what we see. And then there's, the fake news that people think is fake. And if you think it's fake, then you're on one side. If you don't, you're on the other. So it's just like all of us. Where's America now? Where have we gone since, I'm 50 years old this year. America looks completely different than it used to, a long time ago. So anyway, so we'll delve into some of that. And then part of it is just being a human being. What's your life's path? Where are you at? What do you think about it? Being a conscious Homo sapien is an amazing gift, but it's also, in a lot of ways, it's not as easy for some people. I mean, I can't believe some of the suicides of famous people that have been happening over the last year. Robin Williams and, I can't remember, Chris Cornell, the guy from, there's so many, Lincoln Park. It's what's happening in the world to what's, this crazy condition called being a human. So we'll spend some time on that, just what we all suffer from, and just, all of our journeys. So again, I am so proud and so happy to be a part of this and offering this, and I hope you find some information in it, and hope you find it valuable. And like I said, if you come at me with any ideas, I'm open to everything. So thanks for taking 9 minutes of your time today. I really appreciate it, and look for more for Food for the Mind. I'll reach out and let you guys know what's coming up. See ya!